Hi, friends. It's Thursday. That means it's time for the Tarot Topics newsletter recap, where we talk about what's in the weekly newsletter and we do some readings on the topic. I'm Christiana Gaudet. I am your Tarot Fairy Godmother. I'm really happy to see you all here today. So, do you get the Tarot Topics newsletter? It comes out every Wednesday in your inbox. If you don't, there is a link right in the description to read this week's newsletter, and of course, you can subscribe while you're there. So, this week we're talking about thought loops. So, in psychiatry and psychology, thought loops can be a symptom of some, potentially serious diagnoses. And if we're dealing with people who have those kinds of diagnoses, they may need a lot more care than what a tarot reading can provide. There's the disclaimer. The thing is, though, regardless of what our mental health status might be at any given moment, we are all susceptible to the thought loop. This is where we have a thought or an idea. It could be a worry. It could be a belief. It could be a fear, and it could be like a pain point, and we just can't get out of that thinking. And we could have people presenting us with evidence that what we're thinking is not true or is not likely or is not the only way to look at it, and yet we're still in that thinking loop. This is what we're talking about this week, and how to break out of that thinking loop. And there are ways that tarot can be, in a non-clinical situation, there are ways that tarot can be super helpful in doing this. So that's what we're going to do readings about today. All right, Joyous Ocean, good to see you. Glad you like the background. All right, here we go. Let's go over to CardCam. John and I were just talking. Since we're starting to play with the backgrounds now with the whole new setup, we're now going to be improving CardCam over the next few weeks. So you'll enjoy that too. But in the meanwhile, here we go. CardCam. All right, and trusty old Wiser Tarot. Here we go. Okay. First up, so this is interesting because I am pretty sure the first thing that I saw was from Ben Libra Does Tarot, and that one has disappeared. A few others may have disappeared. Sometimes they get cut from the top. And so I'll start with what I see. But if you were here early and put your question in, and it's now disappeared, come on back, let me know, give me the question, and I'll try to cut right to you and not make you hang out in line. Just let me know. Ben is the one that I saw, and there might be others as well. Okay. Trey, is your question what caused the mental health disclaimer? No. I haven't read your question yet. No, what causes the mental health disclaimer is the need for a mental health disclaimer because here am I, a tarot reader with no licensure or training whatsoever, talking about a very real mental health thing and purporting to be able to help. So I needed to give that disclaimer for my own, whatever, safety, protection, ethics. But here we go. We are going to your question right now. I've been having a crisis of faith lately. Yeah, we all do. I'm sorry to hear it, though. It's not pleasant. Not just faith in the world, but spiritual faith. Not really sure what to believe anymore. I understand completely. I know there's something, be it a God or source, whatever, but I'm just not sure if I necessarily have faith that something is necessarily good. Any advice? I mean, I'm assuming I'm like a lot older than you are, Trey. I think at some point you let us know your age, and so I can tell you, that for every crisis of faith you have had, every few years. I think in any honest spiritual person, there will be these crises. It's part of growth. So, and I will do the reading, but I want to give you some thoughts as one who also can struggle with this, that a crisis of faith is not a bad thing. A crisis of faith is not really a crisis. A crisis of faith is an opportunity to say, okay, given new evidence that has been presented, what do I think now? And I think it's wise and appropriate to have these things change over time. I think it's a sign of a thinking individual. And I think the problem is that in many schools of spirituality, there is this sense like, your faith must be unwavering. And I think if we have unwavering faith in anything, like, what is deserving of unwavering faith? I think the very nature of faith should waver and ultimately be reaffirmed. And if it cannot waver and be reaffirmed, then what you had faith with in the first place wasn't worthy of it. So there's my rant. Let's do the reading. Trey's crisis of faith. I think what it is that part of you which exists in all of us that would really just like to be happy and have everything feel okay. But I think when we look at the world, and then when you look inside yourself or your own experiences, it's hard to feel that everything is okay. And so I feel like, when we talk about higher power or whatever that might be, we only look for evidence. We can only look for evidence either within written things and philosophy, historical philosophy, or what is evidenced around us, or what we feel deep within us. That's where it comes from. And I'm going to say, right now, whether or not a higher power exists doesn't really matter. What matters is what exists within you. I'm going to say for right this minute, not for forever, maybe not even for a week or a month, make this be a conversation with yourself about yourself and simply what gives you joy, what makes you feel good, what makes you feel bad, and how can you work with that? Like I would say, make it be a lot more simple and make it be about yourself. And then the larger questions will fall into whatever appropriate place of importance they need to have. Does that make sense? I don't know. Trey. Oh, you're 28. Thank you. I thought you were 28. So, Trey, Saturn. First Saturn return. You're supposed to be in a crisis of faith right now. If you don't know about the first Saturn return, read about it. Maybe get your chart done, find out when yours exactly is, but 28 is around the time. And you're supposed to. You're doing exactly what you're supposed to be doing right now. Because whatever gets nailed in at, going forward is what's going to stay firmly with you for a while. So you better be careful about what you choose to believe right now. All right. Oh, Ben, good. You came back. Good. Ben Trey is showing first in the chat now, and there were defo people before me. Yep. And I don't know who was before you, but I know I saw you, Ben. So, and then Ben says, that's very true. Unwavering faith is akin to blind faith. Yeah. A few questions that help you reaffirm is great for growth. Yes. So Ben, go ahead and did you put your, oh yeah, I see it. Okay. Now I see that you relate to the thought loops. I don't see your questions, so go ahead and get that in. And anyone else that got lopped off the top, get your question in and let me know you got lopped off the top, and I'll try to not make you wait till the end. Next question. Febborn, nice to see you. Impressive poem. Wish I had written it. Got it. How do my thoughts benefit or hinder me? Yeah, I do like my tower poem. For sure. Okay, so that looks like a 2-card reading, help and hinder. What are the helpful thoughts? The helpful thoughts are the freeing thoughts. The helpful thoughts are the thoughts that let you know you're in charge, you can enjoy life, you can go wherever you want to go. Those are your helpful thoughts. What are your unhelpful thoughts? Your unhelpful thoughts, I think your unhelpful thoughts happen when you dismiss things as frivolity or when you dismiss things that you actually might enjoy. I think you can dismiss them out of hand as just being like not worthy. And maybe you might want to go back and try to have some more fun. Oh, Trey, good. I'm glad that worked for you. Good. All right. Ali Mammon, nice to see you. Please tell me, what are the kind of thought loops the universe and my guides want me to stop and how to do it? Well, any kind of anxiety, anything that is anxiety produced, like this is very specific in my mind. Like this is the card of the thought loop. This is one of those cases of tarot just pointing out the obvious, like any thought loop. And thought loops, your thought loops are caused by anxiety. So it's really about working on anxiety and trying to get out of anxiety. And so then how do you do that? How do you stop being anxious? Well, there are medications, there are therapists, but there's also stop trying to please other people whose pleasure doesn't really matter to your life. And make sure you know what your goals are and that you're actively working towards your goals. Melissa, it's so good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. Good to see you. Thanks for using members only anxiety, right? Do we have special anxiety for members? No, members only emojis. Am I stuck in a thought loop about being single? And if so, how can I remedy this? I think from time to time you can be. And it is the thought loop, will I ever find anybody? How come all these bitches have someone and I don't? There can be a lot of that. What's wrong with me? There can be all of that, and I think you do better with that. But it's a thing that happens for sure. And how to remedy it is trust in yourself, trust in the process, and trust that you will find the right person in the right time. Julie, I have a lot of thoughts always going on in my head. What does the universe want to tell me? Any ways to control them? Is it good or bad? Well, that would be up to you to decide, what your experience of that is. But if you're having racing thoughts, I think some of your thoughts are about what you're missing, what's not happening, what's not going to happen, how things are going to be bad for you. I think that's kind of where your head's at. And so, yeah, I think you do get into a negative thought loop about how you're not going to have what you need and how you're not going to have opportunities. And it would be good to tell yourself a different story. It would be good. It would be good to communicate something different to yourself, for sure. Barbie, this is so relatable, right? Right. That's why I did this topic, even though it crosses a little bit of a line going into psychology where, that's not the community I'm a member of. But it still seemed to make sense because it certainly does show up at the tarot table. And I think it shows up for all of us. So why shouldn't we talk about it? And why shouldn't we look at using tarot to try to help? All right. All right, here we go. Yeah, Trey Cameron, going through your Saturn return in Pisces. Yeah, there you go. That's it. Joyous Ocean. So good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. You're up next. Smile Soul 20. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. We appreciate you. All right, Joyous Ocean. I definitely love the newsletter since I am a mental health advocate. I love that you shared that people should consider professional support as an option. Yes. Yes. And tarot readers, professional tarot readers, aspiring tarot readers, I will always say, your ethics are your own, and there's nothing that is across the board, what should be in your code of ethics, except maybe that, to really encourage appropriate mental health support. Recognizing, though, that that's hard, and it almost feels a little gaslighting, because right now it can be hard to find a good therapist. It can be expensive. It can be out of people's budget. So I understand there's a downside too, but I think it's really necessary that we do destigmatize seeking mental health support and teach people how to find good resources, because good resources are available. Not always easily, but they are available. So there you go. Persnickety. Interesting stuff directed to Trey, but it's good stuff for sure. I love it. Barbie Bird, your question is up next. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. And you're up next, but I just have to get to this comment from Joyous Ocean. And thanks for using members-only emojis. We all have mental health, so it should be part of all conversations, right? We have no problem saying, yeah, I broke my arm and had to be in a cast. No stigma on that. But man, I had a bad mental health week and have to be on medication for a while. All of a sudden, stigma. Why? Right? All right. And that's one thing I'm going to say, too, about the younger generation. No, seriously, people in their 20s and 30s right now are having those conversations about mental health, are talking about it, and are talking about it in a way that my generation was never comfortable doing. So, good for you, and it's important. It really is. Science Giant, hello, good to see you, Eric. Mental hygiene, right? Right? Exactly. That's exactly right. And Barbie, I'm such an advocate for therapy. It's so much easier in my friend group to bring these things up. Yeah, I am too. I've had a lot of therapists over the years, some better than others, certainly, but I got something good out of all of it. And, never would I hesitate to check in with someone when the need arises. And I would encourage that for everybody. All right. Persnickety. Earth isn't for the weak of heart. All right, Barbie. Thanks for your patience. Thanks for being a member. Thanks for using members-only emojis. Love this newsletter. I struggle with negative self-belief and fear of failure. You are not alone. Often I fear of just being perceived, like everything I do, good or bad, seems embarrassing to be witnessed. Oh my gosh. Oh, thank you for sharing that. Thank you for feeling safe to share that here, because I think there's a lot of us, myself included, going, yeah, I've never heard it said so well, but I totally identify with that. Oh my gosh. Where did this thought process loop come from? And how can we dispel it or work with tarot to move away from these thoughts that are not serving me? My goodness, this really holds me back. Yeah, yeah, yeah. And, you know, I have a personal story about this. I'm not going to share the whole story, but I am going to say I recognized, like not too far in the past, like I didn't have this much gray hair, but I sure had some. Not too far in the past, I recognized that I was still, after doing much work on this very thing, I was still doing it and it was still holding me back. And I had a breakthrough on what it was. And it was like the stupid, most innocent thing from childhood that I happened to hear and take the wrong way that became like a core foundation baked into my belief about myself. And as soon as I figured it out, I was able to make it go away. So, your question is wise, because if we can understand these things, like the what created this, we can easily make it go away. So for you, where did this come from? I'm going to say, with the Emperor, I'm going to say very likely something a male family member said or did, or something female family members said or did in reference to the role that men are supposed to be playing. I don't know how helpful that's going to be, because that could be a lot of things. But then your question, how can tarot help with the process? So in the newsletter, there's a whole thing about writing down. It's a whole process of writing down the beliefs and then doing a reading on each one of those beliefs. And I think that really works. For you, though, specific to you, you might just want to do like replacement, instead of the process, and do this process too, certainly. This is the belief. Where did it come from? How to get rid of it? What would happen if every day you pulled cards to create new self-talk? For example, I am a person who is constantly manifesting good things around me. I am a person who is allowing myself to heal from past wounds. I am a person who is able to say no without guilt. I think that would be a fun process for you. And maybe the rest of us too. Ooh. Okay, cool. Okay, thanks for all that feedback. Very good, very good. Yeah. And Ben, here it is. I see your comment. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. Thanks for using members-only emojis. This week's newsletter is like it was written for me personally. I can defo relate to being stuck in the negative thought loops. Oh my gosh, yes, yes, yes. Persnickety. I thought I was signed up for the newsletter, but I'm not getting it. I'm sorry. You sign up on my website. Yes, yes. The link will take you directly to this week's newsletter. Then you'll be on the website. You can just go back to the place to sign up for it. Okay, Alon. I feel I am in a loop to continuously trying to win the trust back. How do I do that? Is there guidance from supreme power? And I mean, the question is, like, the whole thing about a thought loop is it might be wrong. And so I think the real question is this thought loop leading you anywhere? Is this something you can do, or is it something you need to get out of? Like, I think this thought loop about winning trust back, I think this thought loop is erroneous from the get-go. So I don't think you want to be looking at how can I do this thing that I'm constantly thinking about. What you want to be looking at is, why am I thinking about this thing? Because it's based on wrong information. Martha Vink, so good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. We appreciate you. My anxiety manifests itself in physical chaos around me, and then I become overwhelmed and feel paralyzed to overcome it. I understand completely. Any advice? Let's take a look. I'm doing the finger drumming. You know, the finger drumming comes from, what am I going to say about this? This is a weird one. I mean, not that you're weird, but it's an interesting question because, like, where do we attack this? Do we attack it at the root cause, at the anxiety? Do we attack it at the behaviors that come from the anxiety, right? And I feel like addressing the anxiety itself, because the problem is the anxiety causes this physical chaos, mess, whatever, which causes more anxiety and paralysis. And so I feel like you've been wanting to address, how can I keep myself more orderly? So let's ask, is there a way that you can be more orderly in your anxiety? And I'm afraid it would come out in a worse way. I mean, the way that it comes out is not the worst. So I think really trying to address the anxiety. What can you do for the anxiety? And I think that's about self-care. It could be diet. It could be exercise. It could be therapy. It could be medication. It could be meditation. But I think self-care directly for anxiety rather than shaming yourself for disorder. Joyous Ocean, go back. You skipped my question. Thank you. I apologize. So I see your comments. I read those. You're actually, the way I'm seeing it, it's Martha, which I just did, then Ben, then Joyous Ocean. So you're up, you're next to be next. And Ben is next. Ben, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. I feel I have made good progress this year recognizing my triggers of negative loops of self-doubt talk. Is there a hidden trigger I can work on as we draw nearer to 2024? Yes. Your relationship with admiration and compliments. As more and more people see your abilities, more and more people will admire you and compliment you. And sometimes that makes you very uncomfortable. You will need to learn, why does that make you uncomfortable? How to graciously accept it. You're going to need to learn this because you're an admirable person and there will be much admiration of you. So you're going to have to learn how to accept that because right now that causes you anxiety. All right. And now, Joyous Ocean. Dion C. Monsanto, so happy that you're here. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. Thanks for using members-only emojis. And you're a speaker at StaarCon. We cannot wait to see you. I'd like to know what the cards have to say about my positive loop. I don't think it's toxic, and this is a reference to toxic positivity. I think I have a balance of sharing when I'm not okay. So this is a good check-in. Yeah. I mean, I think you've got it. I mean, I think you are, like others in our community, really interested in cultivating joy, which is a wonderful thing. But I don't think you're doing that in a toxic positivity way. I think you're good. Persnickety, I found the newsletter subscription form. Very good, thank you. Okay. Claire C., so good to see you. Thanks for being here. I often find myself, and Claire, thank you for being a member. We appreciate you. I often find myself trapped in a thought loop related to current events. This condition is kindled every day through the media. I need to limit my exposure. What will help? It's like an addiction. I understand. And I can tell you that, like for social media, sometimes I have to go through and reset my algorithm. Like if I've got a lot of stuff coming up that, yes, I'm interested in, but it's upsetting me, I won't like those things. And I will actively seek out like lighthearted stuff, comedy or, whatever else, comedies, tarot, whatever. And I'll like all of that. So I start getting fed more of that. So that's one thing. And then I can just like literally turn off the news. And it's hard because I think it's important to stay informed, but I think we have to have a balance for our mental health. So those were just, while I'm shuffling, random things I do to try to fix the same problem. For you, I think it's hard because on one hand, you recognize the very high stakes that literally the world hangs in the balance. And you are really confused about why and how people can be so stupid and so mean. And so that's the constant loop, is how can people be so stupid and so mean and greedy and not realize that all of this is leading to, these terrible things. And you don't know how to answer that question. And so that becomes the loop. So what do you do about that? I think what you have to do is cultivate as much love in your heart for others as you can, and just constantly be a force for that love for others, recognizing that people are carrying heavy burdens and that's their way of dealing with it. And you have the ability to sort of see a larger picture. And so just spread love wherever you go. I think that's the best thing you can do for yourself and for the world. All right. Jeannie Mnuchin, you're up next. Oh, Ben, thank you for that feedback. Good. I do struggle to accept compliments, which is crazy because if you say something bad, I'm like, yup, I know I'm the worst, right? But you can't be like, yeah, I know I'm the best, right? Yeah, got it. Glad you got it. All right, where are we going next? Hang on a minute. Overscrolled, give me a minute. Jeannie Mnuchin. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. What negative thought patterns or loops would be good for me to dissolve, and what technique would work well? Good. Let's see if we can do that in 2 cards. I mean, I'm not being stingy with the cards. If I need more, I'll use more. But, when there's 2 questions, I'm always like, oh, could that be a 2-card spread? Could it be? Okay. The negative thought pattern that you need to dissolve is this idea that you are never going to achieve what you want to achieve. How do you let go of it? By saying nice things to yourself and recognizing that you have achieved many things already. And sometimes you do achieve a good thing and you don't give yourself the credit for that. So your whole story is a little off. Caroline McLaughlin, good to see you. Thanks for being a member. Thanks for using members-only emojis. Justine, good to see you. Thanks for being a member. Thanks for being a moderator. Von Ray, good to see you. Thanks for being a member. All right, Justine, you are up next. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. I've been dealing with some serious negative thought loops recently, and I'm still trying to break free of their hold. On Sunday, I thought I'd fixed the issue that it was causing me grief, but I'm still having similar issues, and I feel pretty bummed about it. How can I break through my negative cycle? What will it take to break free of it? Good question. And I'm sorry you're going through this. I think, honestly, in a way you're treating, when it comes to the thinking, not the problem that caused the thinking, but the thinking itself. I think in dealing with this problem, you've seen that your efforts are only going to get you so far in the way that you're doing it. And so I think you need to adjust your thinking about the problem itself and what it is and what it means. And I think to break free is going to be to find the spiritual and psychological deeper messages that are present here to because like fixing this problem, like the thing is, the problem that you're trying to fix is something that will never completely go away because it exists everywhere, right? And so there's going to have to be a change in your relationship with it. All right. Karen Hendershots. I made you plural suddenly. So somehow, like, I've cloned you. There's multiples of you now, which is cool. We could always use more of you. All right, Karen, thank you so much for being here. Thank you for being a member. Is my lack of romantic connection due to just not finding the right one? Or is it more my anxiety and fear of commitment and getting hurt? Ooh, deep question. Well done. Okay. Well, I mean, it's true you have not found the right one, so that is true. But is the other thing true too? That anxiety, fear of commitment, and getting hurt could be keeping you from finding, or like keeping you from doing the things to find the right one. Oh, I think there's some truth to this. I do think there's real truth to this. So I'm going to say the answer is both. You know, I mean, if you meet the right one will push through all of that, but it's harder to meet the right one if you're dealing with all of that. So yes, good question. All right. Okay, Liz Harrison, so good to see you. Thanks for being here. Karen, cloning me is a little scary. I'd take one of you down here to be my Florida friend. You could teach me to crochet. It would be cool. All right. Liz Harrison, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. Would appreciate anything the cards might have for me on this particular newsletter topic. Looping is unfortunately a familiar friend. I get it. I get it. And Liz, thanks for being a member. We appreciate you so much. So the general advice, I'm going to be really literal on this. When a loop starts, change your physical location whenever possible. Get up, go to another room. Go out of the house. Walk around. Listen to music. Do a dance. change what you're doing and see if you can break it by doing something else. Seriously, see if that helps. All right. Peggy Lou, so good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member, Peggy Lou. We appreciate you. How can I break out of negative thought loops? Lots of grief. I'm so sorry. I mean, I feel like a certain amount of grief. Like, look, we have these two knights here, right? So the Knight of Cups is kind of stuck in the grief, but then the Knight of Swords is just riding forward. And I feel like, I mean, you've had some recent tragedy in your life. And so I feel like there is a space for grief that is not a thought loop, that is just grief. And so I think you do have to, unfortunately, go through the grief and then just allow. And I think part of the way for allowing for you is to go outside, be in the fresh air, be in nature, and just, recognize that grief is a process. And grief itself is not negative, it's necessary. I think that's what's really going to help you get through this. Oh, Karen Hendershot. I thought you did crochet. I vaguely remember a story about a crocheted bikini. Oh yes, my mother. I do not crochet. I can sort of knit, but badly. But my mother was like the queen of textile arts. And she, yes, crocheted me a bikini when I was like 9. And, great. But how do you actually swim in such a thing, which is what we discovered. And so we both laughed about it, and it was funny. But no, I will never forget the crocheted bikini. Okay. Adrija, you are up next. It's good to see you. Recently, I'm having neither positive and negative thoughts, kind of feeling no motivation at all. How to stop this and how long will it take me to get out of this? Yeah, that doesn't sound pleasant either. What's going on there? I know you're a traveler, but I feel like, I think a lot of it is like, okay, it's great to be able to go on a trip and that's wonderful, but then you come home and it's just kind of same old, same old. I think in a way it's hard to be, I think it can be hard to be away from your family. So there's a lot of reasons for this, but I feel like the way out of it for you is going to be something physical. Dance, yoga, sports, going to the gym, going for a walk. I really do feel like bringing physicality into this could really help. Liz Harrison, dang, that is brilliant and makes perfect sense for me. Thank you. I do notice the loop-to-loop depending on where I am physically. Amazing advice. Thank you. Thank you. Very good, very good. All right. Aria Wilson, so good to see you. How can I try to get out of negative thought loops to stop ruminating? Read a book. Seriously. Actively bring in something new to think about. Social media could do it. reading a book, bring in new ideas. That's what you need, new ideas. DH, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. What are the positive and negative thought loops in my life? Well, that's interesting because, I would think you would know that. But let's see what the cards say. I think the negative thought loop has to do with time. I wonder if you have anxiety around time, that I don't have time to get all of this done. I'm not going to get it done in time. I'm not going to be able to get everything done in time for my life or for today or in this hour. So I wonder if you have negative thought loops around time. And I think you are very good at appreciation of good people and good things around you. I think you're good at having appreciation and gratitude. River's Edge, good to see you. Not sure how to ask the question on this, but a traumatic experience keeps rearing its ugly head. Oh my gosh, oh my gosh, oh my gosh. I'm always expecting this for my future. How do I manage this loop? Okay, this is where I'm going to recommend, and I'm recommending this. Here, I'm going to give you my full face for this, then we'll go back to card cam. I'm recommending this for River's Edge, but for everybody. EMDR, write it down. The E and the M stand for eye movement, I believe, EMDR. I believe the R stands for reprocessing. It is a very weird therapeutic thing. It was originally developed for people returning from war with PTSD. Then it was realized we all have PTSD in one way or another, either from egregious trauma or just daily trauma. And this technique works for a lot of people. I think it's only like 92% of the people who tried it works for, so there's an 8% that it won't. This is not a psychic guarantee that it will work for River's Edge or anyone in particular, but definitely try it. You can get it through a therapist. So if you have insurance that covers therapy, you can find insurance that will cover this. EMDR. Give it a try. All right, going back to... Yeah, there we are. Okay. Okay. And then if, because so many people I know with EMDR, just it changes things. So it would not always be there for you. But now let's do the reading, River's Edge. Yeah, this is serious and problematic. I am so sorry. Honestly, I would definitely try EMDR, and honestly, if that didn't work, I would try ketamine therapy. Seriously. Like, this is serious. It's big. I feel like it needs like something medical. I would also do some magical stuff around healing, some meditative stuff around healing, but I think this needs the big guns, seriously. But this would tell me that some of the big guns could work. Iva Fur, good to see you. All right, Teresa, thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. Thanks for being a moderator. Okay, I feel like I'm missing part of this. I can pick it up though. Necessary for my mental health, but I'm struggling to do so. What do the cards say about cutting out the source of negative mental thought loops, even though I feel bad for having to do so? So it looks like what you're asking about is like maybe going no contact with someone, cutting someone or something out of your life that you must do for your mental health, but you feel bad about having to do so, and you could be having those guilt negative thought loops about having to do so. But, okay. Oh, it's about your mother. Okay, understood. Thank you. Thank you. You know, here's the thing. You have to do what's right for you. And honestly, you know, here's the thing. I feel like if you know what you have to do and you have to do it, then you have to do it, and you don't have to feel bad about it because it's what you have to do. And that's really the bottom line. And the thing is, I think, like, are you looking at like literally having to go no, yes, sorry, not sure what happened to the rest of the message. It's about my mother and her malicious messages. So, you know, basically, if someone is being abusive to you, it does not matter if you came out of their body. It does not matter if they came out of your body. It does not matter what the history is or what the connection is. If someone is being abusive to you, you must protect yourself. Do what you must do. And there it is. And recognize that the fact that there has been this abuse here is also why you feel guilty. Because a person who has not been abused would not feel guilty about disconnecting from their abuser. I mean, I realize that's a weird loop right in there, but you see what I'm saying. She's been very mentally ill and attacks and gaslights me. Yes, I've cut her off for years at a time, but since my sister passed, I tried again with her, but she's worse. Yeah, and there's not a lot you can do. I'm so sorry. I'm so sorry. When we look at her, like, she wants and needs love. Okay, great. But she uses it as a weapon. And that, like, there's nothing you can do here. No. I understand why you tried, but there's nothing you can do. You must protect yourself. I'm so sorry. Oh, good. Yes, you understood my convoluted little thing there. Okay, good. Good. River's Edge, EMDR, got it. It is really big. As we started with Monday with the devil shooting out of the deck onto the floor, it's hard to manage sometimes. Yeah, I'm so sorry. But there are tools for you, and keep trying. EMDR first. If that doesn't work, try ketamine. Seriously. And I'm not saying, like, I'm not advising it in the recreational illegal sense. I'm advising it in the therapeutic sense, but hey, you do you. Okay. Jackie Masters, you're up next. Thanks so much for being here. Thanks for being a member. We appreciate you. What thought loops am I running, and which ones should I stop? Can my guides and ancestors help? I'm sure they would like me to stop so I can continue to move forward. And I mean, my guess is you know what your negative thought loops are, but it is interesting to see what the cards have to say. And let's see what we got here. Do you have some negative thought loop about other people being smarter than you are, or other people not listening to your ideas, or other people thinking they're smarter than you are, or other people stealing your ideas? It's something like that, or people not talking to you when they should. It's about ideas, intelligence, and communication, and how you process that vis-a-vis other people. Oh, River's Edge. Wondering what some of the cards were that you drew today that made you see the severity. All of them. I'd have to go back and watch the video, but if you go back and watch the video, you'll see there was a bunch of them spread out, and it was apparent to me. But I don't remember. I'm sorry. But you could go back and see. And then, like, I'll do you this. If you go back, watch the playback, see those cards, and tell me, I can tell you how I found the severity in them. I'd be able to do that. Von Ray, so good to see you. Thanks for being a member. Thanks for being here. I know mine is much deeper. I go back and forth in my thinking. It's hard to think positively when I don't see or feel progress. I'm already in therapy. What else can I do to just actively believe? Right, and that's the thing I often say, like, hope and faith, though the hardest thing about hope and faith is that when we need them the most, they are the hardest to have. It's true. So here's what I'm going to say. These are things to tell yourself on your way, and good for you for being in therapy. If you're still breathing, there's still hope. There's a line from one of my favorite Grateful Dead songs. I'm still walking, so I'm sure that I can dance. And I love that line. I probably use that at least once in my day when I'm like, blah, 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 blah. Well, I'm still walking, so I'm sure that I can dance. So that. Look how much you have accomplished already. I think very often for all of us, not just you, but all of us, when we're not feeling hopeful, it's because we don't see how far we've come and how much we have already accomplished and how much we're capable of. And here, with the star reversed, there's a sense that the good things you're looking for are closer than you think. All right. Oh, thank you for your kind words, River's Edge. Thank you for your kind words, Teresa. Really appreciate it. Ah, Caroline, I thought you meant ADHD. I was wondering. Baby cakes. I often get thrown into mental health loops by other people's comments and behaviors, right? Right, I understand. How do I protect myself from their influence? And how do I shake it off faster instead of going into the loop? I mean, I know we're not supposed to let people steal our peace, but it's hard. It gets into your head. It's hard to unsee. But there's a magical spell. Here we go. I'm going to give you a great magical spell. This is for all of you, not just baby cakes. And baby cakes, I don't think you grew up in the U.S., so you may not know this one, but a lot of us do. And you're going to know it now. When we were little, we would say this thing when people would tease us and call us names. We would say, I'm made of rubber, you're made of glue, it bounces off me and sticks to you. Do y'all remember saying that? I'm made of rubber, you're made of glue, it bounces off me and sticks to you. This is a magical spell. Did we know it was a magical spell when we were doing it? No, we did not. But it is. And so, literally, if we can have the presence of mind to sort of think of that, like, this energy is not sticking to me. I'm made of rubber. This energy is not sticking to me. It will help. And it's not only psychological, it is energetic and magical. Now let's do the reading. All right. I think for you specifically, baby cakes, part of it is low self-esteem, where there's a part of you that wonders if these people might actually be right or if something they're saying might actually be true. And that's why you let it in. So I think if you could work on your own relationship with yourself, on your own self-esteem, that would really help. And Nalini, my brother and I used to say, what you say is what you are, and you can't tell me that because I said it first. There you go. There you go. Ah, Jackie, no, I did not miss you. I think, did you have that Ace of Swords one? It was, oh yes. It was the Ace of Swords one. And I only did one card, but it felt really intense. So I want you to hear it and let me know what you think, because it felt intense. All right. Yes, Jackie, I know you're at work, and thank you for double tasking. I'm sorry. So yeah, when you get a chance, definitely. Dr. All Ed, so good to see you. Thanks for being here. And now I just overscrolled. Hang on. Here it is. It's amazing that I clicked onto the anxiety question. I've been dealing with anxiety a lot this week at work. Any advice to deal with it day by day? What, vodka won't work? No, I'm sorry. And no, that's obviously not advice, and certainly not at work. Yes. Breathe and actively don't take it on. And recognize that the anxiety is coming from outside of you. It's not you. And it's a beast that you can tame. So it's not you. Breathe, tame the beast. Seriously, it's not you. Okay, and y'all, Peggy Lou has a book recommendation for you in the comments if you want to check that out. Hey, Madiha Ness, so good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member here. Thanks for using members-only emojis. Am I being lied to? Or is this a thinking loop? I'm not sure you're being lied to. I'm not sure. It's complicated. It's not that simple. There is definitely something up. It's not as clear as a lie or the truth. It may be a half-truth, half-lie situation. So your thinking loop is being triggered by something, but it's probably not as cut and dry as you're thinking. River's Edge, thank you so much for the super sticker. Really appreciate that. Wendy, today's topic, the thought loop. Anxious thinking and what to do about it. Betty Flesher, good to see you. Thanks for being here. Thanks for being a member. Thanks for using members-only emojis. When I was 7 or 8, my stepdad said some critical, harsh words to me in front of my best friend. At least that's the way I remember it. Did he really do that? And if so, why? I think he did. And he did it. I think he was upset with his wife, your mother, at the time. And I think he just didn't know how to deal with women and children. I think he didn't have good skill about how to do that. So he didn't see it as a problem. So it was more hurtful than he meant it to be. Right. So, Dr. Aled, my boss brings her BS into my office, but because I'm an empath, I absorb her shite. Right. I'm made of rubber, you're made of glue. You just send that shite right back to her. Seriously. Cancer Verma, so good to see you. I found the topic fascinating as soon as I saw the post on Instagram. I'd love to know what it is for me. Overthinking and worrying is constant, as you know. It is. And I think for you, you just need to figure out what is true and stick with it. That's the bottom line. Seriously. And trust yourself to know your truth. Okay, Caroline McLaughlin, I'm on a constant loop. Good, bad, and different. Must say, as I get older, I get better, I can handle it. I think I have ADHD. I understand. I don't know if there's a question there, though. Let me know if there's a question there. Nalini, I am aware of my OCD. I've been struggling to work on my thoughts and emotions. And yeah, OCD is one that has those thought loops as part of it, for sure. What thoughts are holding me back? I'm struggling with wanting more from the wrong person, but I'm having a hard time letting go. The thoughts that are holding you back right now is the idea that you can't in life find what you want. And I don't necessarily mean find what you want from this specific person or this specific thing, but overall find what you want. I think you struggle with that. Oh, River's Edge, do you like the Grateful Dead as well? Do you have stories? Were it not for the Grateful Dead, we would not all be here right now. I learned to read on Grateful Dead tour back in the 80s, seriously. Seriously, it's my origin story. Baby cake's awesome spell, right? Perfect. Okay. All right, let's see. Wendy Robeson, spiritual advisor. Thank you for being here. Thanks for being a member. I've been dealing with anxiety from judgment from family. Right, and if I remember correctly, you grew up in a religious family that may have been spiritually abusive. Do you have a message about dealing with that? Yeah. You grew up in a home that you were told was safe and sacred and holy, but it was none of those things. So you grew up with the ultimate gaslighting. And so how do you even know what's true and what's not? You have to really recognize the depth of it to get rid of it. Like the only way to get rid of it is to go through it. And really unpack it and decolonize it and deconstruct it. Seriously, you have to do that work. Ha, River's Edge, I'm 52, so stories aplenty. Oh my. And where are you geographically? I wonder if we were at some of the same shows. You know, I mean, that's always the question, right? All right. Peggy Lou, you're the best therapist. Well, thank you. And a lot of people say that. And I'm happy to be your coach, but I don't have licensure. So, you know, there are some things that are definitely above my pay grade. Kristen Louise, my currently not having a meaningful passion or purpose in life is giving me anxiety. When my mom was alive, my time energy went to her. Now I have no purpose. Oh, I'm so sorry. How do I find a purpose, meaningful passion? I'm assuming you were taking care of your mom. You were your mom's caregiver. And so this is going to sound weird, and it's not a forever thing, it's a for now thing. But the for now thing is right here, right now, your passion needs to be your own self-care. Eating right, sleeping right, exercising right, listening to the music that you love, doing everything that nurtures you. Why? Because you can. And don't even think about the future and what you're going to do in the long run. This is aftercare. This is self-care, but it's also aftercare. And then you'll click in and figure the rest out. Yes, you were her caregiver. So you're suffering from caregiver syndrome, really. And so now is not the time to think about, what I'm going to do next in my life. You've come out of the room. Imagine you're in a big hotel. You've come out of the room of caregiving, and so now you're in the foyer, and you can't go into another room yet. You need to be in the foyer where you're doing really good self-care for yourself, and then you'll know what room you want to go in. Oh, River's Edge, you're in Killingly. Do we know each other? Did we know each other when I lived in Putnam? And did we ever see Desert Rain together? Max Creek? Any of those things? Grateful Dead at the Hartford Civic Center or Providence? Maybe? Any of that? Kristen, wonderful, makes sense. Okay, good. So, okay, Rosemarie is just getting here. If you've got a question, go on and get it in. Vaishali, question not particularly about the topic, but I can let you know what your spirit guides have to say about this particular topic, which is, it is time for you to do more meditation, to go inside and look deeper within yourself. Okay, and Rosemarie, if I may, because honestly, I think you have a lot of thought loops. I think this topic is very pertinent to you specifically. I mean, I didn't write it with you in mind, but I could have, I think. And so, I would really like to look at, what's going on with your thought loops here. And here's the thing I'm going to say. Rosemarie, you have thought loops that just aren't true, where you are lying to yourself over and over and over again. And that's what you need to see and break away from. River's Edge, yes, all of those. Still seeing Creek. And is Desert Rain still playing? Oh my gosh, they played my... I have finished every question as far as I can see, so it's last call for readings for all. If I accidentally skipped you, I'm so sorry. Please do reiterate. If you're here and haven't asked, please do ask your question. Right now, though, I'm having a reminiscing conversation about being a deadhead in Connecticut. And yes, I saw you in Plainfield at the Yankee Motor Inn, I bet you. Or when I had my office in Central Village, which was also sort of Plainfield. Oh my gosh. So, my husband, IT John, threw a surprise party for my 36th birthday party, which is who gets a surprise party on their 36th? Well, I did. It was at what was the King's Inn in Putnam, and Desert Rain played. So, isn't that fun? There's even, I think the video is still up. There's a really embarrassing video from that birthday party up on YouTube. Just saying. Because, well, there it is. All right. All right, here we go. Rosemarie, what am I lying to myself about? I think you know. I really think you know. I would really ask you to, we sort of had this conversation last night. So if you look back to what we were talking about last night, I think you know. All right, my friends, I really appreciate you. Thank you so much for being here at River's Edge. Good times, Teehee. Yeah, it's really great down here in Florida. Like the old people deadhead scene is freaking great. The local bands like play these outdoor venues, and it's like from 7 to 10 at night, right? Old people hours. So good. All right. And Rosemary, honestly, feel free to send me an email because you've got some heavy stuff going on, and I'd be more than happy to talk to you about it in email. So feel free to send me an email if you're not sure where we're at. Please do that. My friends, thank you so much. Links in the description. Do all the things. I really appreciate you. I'll be back tomorrow. Will I be back tomorrow? I will, for the Friday weekly wrap-up. Thank you all so much. I really appreciate you all. Take good care.